Right. Hey guys, we are going to jump right in. I am so excited to be here with you guys this evening just to chat a little bit about healthy and simple ways that you can use in your own life to be proactive with your health and to really kind of take it to the next level. And so this is actually a class that I created after hearing a lot of questions about a lot of the same topics on a repeated basis and thought sometimes it's easier just to talk through some of those areas and some of the solutions that I have found in my own life that have been really effective. Because when I find those things, it's something I definitely want to share with you as well. So for tonight's kind of online training, I'm going to be sharing a PowerPoint presentation for most of it. I find that seeing the visuals really helps. And if you've got questions, feel free to ask them at any point. If you're on with us live, you can use the chat box. And if you're watching the replay, you can definitely send me an email at heather@fitaspire.com. All right, well, let's jump straight in and get started. I'm going to share my screen. So if you'll bear with me for one moment here. Okay. Just put this on large. All right. So healthy can be simple. I know this is something that a lot of people think, in order to really be healthy and take the best care of your health, you've got to spend a lot of money, you've got to buy a lot of stuff, and you're going to have to be, working out all the time and always eating perfectly. And what I have found and definitely share with my clients quite regularly is that's not 100% true. And that's what we're going to talk through tonight. So in case we haven't met before, this is me. You just saw me a little bit ago. I am the founder and coach over at fitaspire.com. I'm an endurance coach, which means I coach a lot of runners and triathletes. I work with people through personal training online as well, nutrition coaching, and then here sharing essential oils in formats like this as a really great way and tool to use for natural health. And really, I do all of this because I really want to help you transform your life through natural health and fitness. And I want to make it something that fits into your life and that you don't feel like takes over everything. So before I even go a little bit further, let me tell you how I even, found these oils and how I kind of learned that this could be something. A little over a year ago, I actually saw a friend of mine's Facebook post, and she was talking about how she was using these oils to help her sleep and how it had been really helpful, and would anyone like to try it? And I'll tell you, my first response when I heard that was definitely skeptical. I thought, that doesn't really sound like something that I think could work, but I guess I should keep an open mind. Let me just try it for myself. So, I talked with her. She sent me some samples and a couple of oils that she actually suggested that I roll on the bottom of my feet before I go to sleep, and it would help me to have a deeper and more restful sleep. Now, that sounded completely crazy to me at the time. And as you'll learn a little bit more in the class, the reason that she suggested that is when you roll oils on the bottom of your feet, it actually has the largest pores in your body. So it absorbs very quickly and can be in your whole system within 20 to 60 seconds. And your feet are actually a little bit tougher. And so if you were to have any sort of a sensitivity, that is a place that's really great to use that to make sure that doesn't become a problem. So the first night I woke up and, hey, coincidence, I actually slept really great and I feel better. The second and third night, now we're starting to think that maybe this isn't so much of a coincidence. And so I decided at that point to do a little bit more research. And a lot of what we're going to share tonight is what I learned through that research and some additional study after that. And once you start to understand what the oils even are and how they work, it really starts to make more sense, or at least it did for me. And so we're going to talk a lot about that tonight. One of the reasons that I do share the oils is that with a lot of my clients in both running and triathlon and even personal training, this is a great tool to help them to achieve their goals. And so that's when I decided I've got to share this with more people because it really is a really effective and very natural solution that I know a lot of us are looking for. So we're going to keep this super simple to go with the titles. What we're going to learn tonight is what the heck essential oils are, like I mentioned, and different ways that you can use them and how they work. We're going to talk about some simple solutions for your top health goals. So we're going to go through a number of different health concerns that I have heard. And if, again, one of the things is not covered, definitely feel free to ask that question. And then we'll talk through some options to get oils into your own home and even how you can save a little bit of money with that. All right, so let's start from the beginning. What are essential oils? So essential oils are just volatile aromatic compounds. You're going to find them in seeds, bark, stems, roots, flowers, and lots of other parts of the plant. And so what happens is we extract those oils from the plant, distill them down so they get to be really powerful and pure. And then that's what we actually know and you get in a bottle of essential oil. So if you see that little picture in the bottom left there, I think it is a 300 times magnification of a peppermint leaf. So if you've ever rubbed a peppermint leaf between your hands, you can kind of smell, and you probably even remember this, that really bright peppermint smell. And so what you've done is you've kind of opened those essential oil sacs that you see in those little white balls in that picture. And so you're releasing the oil, and that is what you're smelling. So that's what we're taking and condensing down or distilling down to create that bottle of oil. So they're super potent because of that. And I think a really great explanation here, since we're talking about peppermint, just to demonstrate how powerful they really are, is 1 drop of peppermint oil is equivalent to 28 cups of peppermint tea. So maybe you've used peppermint tea, for energy or for digestion and things like that in the past. And so think about, you're getting those same benefits, but way, way more of a benefit just from that 1 drop. So it doesn't take very much to get the benefits that you're looking for. So a couple of things that when you're looking at oils that you want to be aware of is, first, you're looking for somewhat of an oil to be very potent. So this is going to be just coming from the plant itself. So how is it grown, and did it produce a really great result? And the example I love to share of this is, I live in Colorado, and I live in an area that it's not the easiest to grow plants. It's a higher elevation, and we get lots and lots of wind. Before I lived here, so about a little over 5 years ago, I lived in Atlanta. It's a nice, humid environment, amazing for growing vegetables. And we used to grow a lot of tomatoes, and we would just get hundreds and hundreds, what the dogs didn't eat. And we would have tons left over to share with friends and family. And it didn't take a whole lot of work to do that. It just grew really great in that climate. But here in Colorado, when I try to grow those same things, we have to put a lot of work and effort into it, and we might get a dozen or 2 of tomatoes out of it, and they just don't taste the same. So that's really what we're looking for when you're going to get a really great oil that's going to be the most effective. You want it to be from that place that it's really easy to grow. It grows naturally because it's going to produce the best product. So what you're looking for is one that's somebody who's going to be harvesting those plants around the world in a place that it is going to be the most natural, and we're going to have the best product. And so doTERRA, which is the brand of oil that I recommend and we're going to be talking about tonight, that's what they do. And on top of that, they actually partner with growers in each of those regions who have been doing this for generations to really help support that culture, the area that they're in. And so they're really adding on to that by really just working in that sense as well. And be happy to share more about that as well if you have more questions. It's some pretty great partnerships that come out of that. Second, you're looking for a really pure product. So just like the supplement industry, this is another one of those areas where there just isn't standard regulation. And so it's really hard to know if what you're getting is what you think you're getting. So it's very important to find a company who does extensive third-party testing. And that's really what doTERRA was founded on. So when the owner started this a little over probably 9 years ago at this point, this is one of the things they were trying to overcome, is how can we be sure that when we provide a product to the market, that it is the highest, purest ones that are available. And so through doTERRA's program, which is called CPTG, which is just Certified Pure Therapeutic Grade, they actually have third-party testing at 7 different stages throughout the growing and bottling process. So from the point that you harvest all the way through to bottling, they're testing to make sure that there aren't any contaminants in that process. And so that's a really important thing, to make sure that it's pure. And we'll talk a little bit more about the different grades of oils in a moment. So safe, particularly with some of the different ways that we can use the oils, we want to make sure that the oil we're using is very safe. And so that CPTG process really helps us to be very confident in that. One of the great things that come out of that is on the bottom of every oil, there is a lot number. And so you're able to go to a website. It's called sourcetoyou.com, and you can enter the lot number from any bottle of doTERRA oil, and you can actually see the chemical testing results for that particular bottle. So it's a pretty great way. They're really big on making sure that they're very transparent so that you can feel really confident that you are getting what you've asked for. So a little bit more on the different grades of oils. This is definitely something most people don't know as much about. Like I said, very similar to the supplement industry, if you're familiar with that. So if you look at that picture there, we're looking at a whole pie, right? That's all the different oils that are available on the market. So that biggest slice of the pie, and that kind of corresponds with the color of synthetic, that's going to be those oils that are going to be most common. And that's going to be really something that has been replicated from the plant to help give that smell, right? And so this is going to be in your cleaning supplies, maybe in perfumes, and it's really just intended to have the smell that you're looking for. Unfortunately, a lot of those are also very toxic chemical fragrances, and not something that's really amazing to have around your body or your house on a regular basis. So that next slice of the pie in green are food grade oils. And those are things that you're going to find in cooking extracts and flavorings. And the intent there is to replicate the taste, right? So peppermint extract, vanilla extract, you're probably very familiar with those. And so those are going to replicate the flavor, but again, not quite giving us all those benefits of the oils that we've started to talk about. Therapeutic grade is that next one. And this is where you'll probably find these in a lot of massage therapy offices. You can even find them on your grocery store shelves at this point. And this is just where it gets really tricky. When you pick up an oil bottle, you'll notice a lot of times that it says pure. And so you're thinking this is great. But unfortunately, with the way that pure is defined, you really only need as little as 3% of actual essential oil in that bottle, as long as the rest of what's in the bottle is a pure carrier oil. So things like a fractionated coconut oil, some sort of a vegetable oil, as long as that's pure and there's at least 3% of oil, you can label it that way. And so that's definitely not going to give us what we're looking for, and not going to give us the benefits that we would in a truly pure bottle. And so that's where that CPTG stamp comes in, because when you get that and you buy a doTERRA oil, you can be confident that that is 100% pure essential oil, and you're going to get all those benefits, so that you really only need to use 1 or 2 drops to get what you're looking for. All right, so let's move on to how to use these oils. So there's really 3 main ways that you can use the oils. Pretty simple when you think about it that way, right? So the first is aromatically. So there's lots of great reasons, and this is usually one of the easiest ways to first use your oils. You use a diffuser. This is a cool air product. A lot of people have asked me about humidifiers recently, and that's going to warm the air. So we want to use a diffuser because it'll have a nice cool air and it'll preserve all of the properties of the oil, so that not only are you getting the amazing fragrance that comes with it, great way to get rid of all of those synthetic air fresheners and candles that you might have around your house, which are very often very toxic, lots of chemicals. Switch that out. Use these oils as a alternative for that. Gives you tons of variety in what that wonderful aroma is, and you're going to get some additional benefits. So when you inhale one of these oils, it actually interacts with the brain, so you're able to get some really great benefits out of it. So things where it can calm the nervous system, it can have a lot of impact on your moods, can help with respiratory support. So think about when you're dealing with those seasonal threats, especially this time of year in the spring. This is a great way to get the benefits of that to help support that area, as well as cleansing the air. I love to talk about, when we talk about cleansing the air, when I cook. So earlier this week, we burned some popcorn. And if you've ever done that, that smell can just linger for days. Same with fish, right? When you cook some fish. So with diffusing, I will very often grab lemon or another citrus oil. Lemon is my favorite, however, because it really does do a great job of cleansing the air. So as long as you diffuse these oils, you're not going to wake up smelling that for the next 3 days. It kind of cleans that out. So the second way that you can use the oils is topically. So this is just putting it directly on your skin. And sometimes you're going to dilute that to make sure that for sensitive areas or for oils that are a little bit more powerful, that you're going to be nice and safe. So you'll see a little reference there. That picture of the bottle is a fractionated coconut oil. If you've not heard of that before, you've probably seen coconut oil, and when you have it sitting on your shelf in the cabinet, it turns solid, right? And you have to melt it to make it a liquid again. So fractionated coconut oil just stays liquid at room temperature. So it's a wonderful medium to mix with our oils to dilute it down. And so there's a good reference there. With infants and with the elderly, you definitely want to dilute. And so if you think about maybe starting with that tablespoon, kind of the upper end, and for some of the easier oils, you can go down to that teaspoon for every drop. So that's a great way to think about it. So when we apply oils topically, what does that do? So we're actually then putting that oil to get the benefit right on that specific area. So think about this for maybe your neck is feeling a little bit stiff. You've had a long day at work. You've been staring at the computer. I definitely have done a little bit of that today. And so applying the oils right onto your neck and to your spine can help put that, that benefit right into that area. So you're going to get some really great relief immediately. You can also see this for massage, blending it with a really great massage oil or even just that fractionated coconut oil. That's one of the reasons you'll actually see oils of some nature in a massage therapy office. Again, a very quick relief in that area, and just don't forget to dilute. That's a really great safety tip. And then finally, internally. So like we've been talking a little bit about the CPTG oils, you do want to make sure, I only recommend internal use for doTERRA, because usually, we just, again, don't know what's in the other bottles. And you want to make sure that what you're putting in internally doesn't have those contaminants or things that shouldn't be in there that is going to make this not be as a good thing for your health. So when we take them internally, this is a great way, a couple great ways to take it listed here. So you can just put a drop under your tongue. You can use little veggie caps. That's the little picture there. So those are literally empty capsules or pill capsules. You can buy those at many different places. They're very inexpensive and they'll last you a long time. And you can actually put a couple of drops of oil directly in that and take it like your own homemade supplement that way. A lot of the oils that are amazing for this will help to promote digestive and immune health. And remember that digestive and gut health is very much also tied to immune health. So those things kind of go hand in hand. And I don't know about you guys, hopefully you've got a tea or a coffee or a nice beverage in your hand while we're chatting. I have some tea in my hand, and I actually added a drop of lemon and cinnamon before we got started. Lemon, because I've been talking a lot all day and I'm talking more this evening, and so it's very soothing to the throat. And then the cinnamon for the immune boosting benefits, and then it just tastes really good as well. All right, so now let's jump straight into the simple ways that you can use these to support different health goals that you might have. So to get started, let's talk about digestion. So if you are somebody who maybe struggles with, dealing with a hard time digesting things like dairy or gluten, or you've had a really big meal and you have that really upset tummy afterwards because you maybe overdid it a little bit, these are all the reasons that you want to look at this blend that is called Digest Zen. It's a beautiful blend. You'll see the different oils that are listed there: ginger, peppermint, caraway, coriander, anise, tarragon, and fennel. This is a really flavorful one. I will actually put this one in a cup of hot water, and it just makes its own tea that way if I'm having a little bit of stomach discomfort. And you'll see that that quote, that testimonial at the bottom right there. Really great one. When you eat a little bit too much, having the Digest Zen, you can actually also put that straight on your stomach where you're feeling uncomfortable. This is going to be a good one to have after maybe all the Halloween candy next week, or Thanksgiving that's coming up for those of you in the US. This is definitely that oil you're going to want to have around when you're feeling like you had a little bit too much after that. Another way that I use this one that I'll touch on later is when I travel. So if you've been following me for a while, you know I've been on the road a little bit this year, and particularly a good bit of international travel. And this is definitely one I always pack in my bag. And we'll talk a bit more about travel tips later. All right, healthy weight. So I know a lot of people are looking for, how do I really look and feel my best? And so, having some tools that help you with your best healthy weight, like this metabolic blend, is a really great support mechanism. So this is a blend of a lot of different oils like ginger and grapefruit and I believe cinnamon and several more on top of that. And so it's going to help to do things like manage those hunger cravings. So I love adding this to my water in the afternoon if I get a little bit of a sugar craving. Maybe people have brought things into the office that it's really not on your nutrition plan, but you're having a hard time resisting it. This is a great oil to help you get over that slump. If you don't love the flavor, I love the flavor personally, but not everyone does. So if this is not your style, you can also add that to those veggie caps, like we mentioned. Another great way to take that internally. It'll also help calm the stomach. It has a lot of those same oils that we talked about in Digest Zen, so you get a little bit of that benefit as well. And you'll see from that testimonial right there that using it consistently has really helped Elise to really feel great and be more consistent with her program over time. So the other side of that, when we're trying to maintain a healthy weight, of course, is exercise, which you guys know I like to talk about, and it's definitely a critical part of your program. And so Deep Blue is my favorite, definitely one of the top products that I know that a lot of my clients and athletes use. And you'll see it comes in several different formats. So that rub is a wonderful, easy to use format, very similar to a Tiger Balm or one of those types of things, but without all the nasty petroleum and stuff that gets hidden in there. And so this is a very natural product. That tube has an entire bottle of the Deep Blue oil in it with a couple of other items that are added to that. And you just use a tiny little pea-size amount, and it provides that comforting support wherever you're dealing with stuff. So this one actually I'm going to be applying later tonight. I'm feeling very sore after my leg workout yesterday, so I'm going to be massaging this into my legs and glutes to kind of just help to give it that recovery sensation, help it to, it has that nice icy hot flavor, if you can, or not flavor, but feeling that you probably have experienced in the past, and really feels comforting and helps with my recovery. And you'll see that quote there from Tim Hightower. That's actually a professional football player, I believe with the Chargers, although please don't quote me on that. I'm not as good with professional football as I am with college football. But that one, you'll see a lot of NCAA and professional teams are starting to use Deep Blue in their regimen because it is such an amazing product. And then I actually grabbed this one. You'll see this is just from a little over a week ago. One of my current customers, Erica, who uses Deep Blue after a hard run, and just a little bit of her feedback on there. I know for me, it's always helpful to hear just other people's experiences. So I wanted to share a little bit with that during tonight's class. All right, restful sleep. So love this topic. If you haven't heard me talk about sleep before, let me just give you a little bit of a, we'll call it a public service announcement. Sleep is way more important than you probably realize. So I will hear people, particularly who work outside of the home, who will talk a lot about, yeah, I only need 4 to 6 hours of sleep. I'm really effective. And unfortunately, that's definitely a misnomer. And really, our bodies need at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep. And if you're a very active person, if you're training for races, or if you're working out, 5, 6 days a week, you really should be going 8+ hours a week, because that's when our body recovers and rejuvenates. And when we're repeatedly kind of running it down and not getting that deep, restful sleep, you're going to see an impact in your metabolism. You're going to see an impact in your energy, in your responses to things, and in your mood, so many different areas of your life. And I will continue to try to share as much about sleep as possible, because it does have such a broad impact on your health. So if you're going to change one thing, this is definitely the area that I would encourage you to focus on. And so Serenity is a really amazing blend of oils that promotes deep relaxation and a restful sleep. So I diffuse this one actually with another oil that we'll talk about later called Balance every night. We have a diffuser that sits next to the bed, and it really, really does help. Hey, I think it even helps the dogs to sleep a little bit more restfully. If you're kind of, if you're somebody who sleeps pretty well and you just want a little bit of a benefit, lavender is also another amazing oils for this. You'll see that feedback from one of the Olympic women's rugby players down below, that even just using lavender on your pillow can really help with sleep. That's a great solution if you don't have a diffuser. Put a drop or two on a cotton ball, slide that into your pillowcase, and you're going to get a lot of that aromatic benefit while you sleep of either using lavender or this blend called Serenity. So this is a really great way to make sure that if you're somebody who's a light sleeper like me, or maybe you've got kiddos who have a hard time sleeping throughout the night. I have one mom who is one of our customers who I know has been using this with one of her little boys who's not been having great luck sleeping throughout the night. And so I know that this has been a great solution for her. So definitely one to look at, and a super important area of your health. All right, you're probably tired of hearing me talk about sleep, so let's talk about immune support. So I'm pretty sure that no one has ever said, I really wish I got sick more often. So we're always looking for ways to avoid getting that, especially this time of year, right? So On Guard is a fantastic blend, super effective. on boosting your immune system and protecting against environmental threats. There are several studies that have been done over the last few years on the effectiveness of On Guard. And if you're interested, let me know. I can definitely shoot out a link to one of those studies after this class. But it's a really, really effective blend on helping you to boost that immune system and help avoid all of that. There was one study that was actually done with a group of teachers, and we all know how much things get passed around at school, right? And so the study that was done was with a group that they were taking. You can actually get these in a beadlet format, which is basically, think about a quarter of a drop. It's really small. And they would just take 1 or 2 of those every day in the morning while they were feeling well. And there is a soft gel version that is a little bit stronger, has a couple of extra oils. And so if they felt something coming on, they would take that. And the teachers in the study actually avoided getting sick all year. So that's a pretty amazing benefit for teachers. So just one example that kind of helps you to understand the effectiveness of this oil. It is so great that there's a whole line of other specifically around cleaning products that I'll show you in just a moment that are great for this. But I did want to just point out, definitely take a look at some of the feedback from other people who use these oils in the comments below. Amber, just from a few weeks ago as well, this has been a really impactful one in her house to really make sure that they weren't having to deal with this as often anymore. By the way, it smells amazing, especially this time of year. I like to say it smells like fall in a bottle. You'll see in the picture kind of some of the stuff that's in this one. So star anise and clove and cinnamon and wild orange, amazing smell. I diffuse this one quite a bit this time of year. So this is what I was mentioning. So this oil is so powerful and so great for helping to boost that immune system and for cleaning that there's an entire line of non-toxic alternatives that I use all throughout my house. In fact, everything you see pictured there, I have in my home today. So they make that tall bottle is a all-purpose cleaner. You can use that. A tablespoon is all you need to make a 16-ounce all-purpose cleaner. I use that to clean all the surfaces in my kitchen. For example, it makes a foaming hand soap. So we've thrown out all the other hand soaps that had fragrances and just other products that I didn't want going onto my skin, since, you know, whatever you put on your skin, definitely a lot of that gets inside of your body. And so the foaming hand soap, again, smells amazing. It feels really great, keeps your hands nice and soft, and really effective on keeping and supporting that immune system again. And then the laundry detergent. So another great one. It's a concentrate, so that lasts a pretty good long time and has been great with our laundry. And I even use that on our sweaty, smelly workout clothes. I have not had to use any of those specialty products that you probably have used if you do a lot of workouts to keep the smell out of the technical fabrics. This has worked really, really great. All right, moving right along. Now let's talk about nutrition and cellular support. So I'm sure a lot of you guys found me through nutrition. I know that the macro template that you can download on my website is definitely one of the top things that a lot of people get. And so if you're looking to make sure that your nutrition is on point, then making sure that you've got a effective supplement regimen is a foundational element. And so the Lifelong Vitality Pack is a combination of 3 core supplements that I highly recommend. There's a whole foods multivitamin. So one of the things you want to look at in multivitamins, right, is to have it be whole foods based so that it can actually be broken down and absorbed by your body. And you want it to be in a format that it's not that kind of smooth coated supplement. Usually those aren't able to be digested as much. And so this one's going to be a great one. You know, I should take a step back and explain a little bit about supplements in case you haven't, done a lot of research. This is an area I'm really passionate about because it's such a simple way to help up level your health and making sure that your nutritional base is covered. So about 60 or 70 years ago is when supplements kind of came to be, and they were all made to try to hit that recommended daily allowance, help to fill those gaps. But the format that was available at the time just wasn't something that was easily digestible. We just didn't have the technology yet. And so, about a decade later, they said, hey, this is working really well, but I think if we add a lot more, right, a lot more of all of these vitamins and minerals, and it's going to be even better, right? But unfortunately, like with a lot of things, too much of even a good thing isn't so good anymore. And so we got to the point that a lot of the high end supplements that you'll find on the market today, and some I've even taken in the past, are just such a mega dose that it can start to cause a toxic situation in our body. So, a lot of people, and like I said, I've done this in the past. You're trying to do the right thing, and you're ending up getting something that's not as ideal as it could be. So this is where DoTerra has really nailed it. And so the supplements are all intended to hit that recommended daily allowance. They're even customized by area of the world that you live in. So a great example that I think a lot of people can picture is, the diet of a typical person in Asia is very different than the diet of a typical person in the US. And so what is in the supplements, particularly the multivitamin, is actually different because they're trying to really nail that you're getting exactly what you're supposed to be getting in that bottle. And so that is a really amazing one. The omega-3 supplement is in a format where it's broken down, where again, your body can actually ingest and use all of those omega-3s. This is another big area because for most of us, we are very out of balance with our omega-3s and omega-6s, and you want those to be at a 1-to-1 ratio. So with most people, even if you're eating really healthy, you probably have way more omega-6 in your system than you do omega-3. So supplementing with that will help to bring that more into a stasis. Also helps with things like metabolism and brain health and way more things on top of that. So, and this one is also infused with 9 high antioxidant oils on top of it. And then the final one in that pack is the Cellular Vitality Complex. This is going after mitochondrial energy, really helping to support with lots of antioxidants so that you're getting that energy balance on the outside of it. So those 3 together are what I take every single day, and I recommend to all of my clients. And so this would definitely be something to look at if you're taking supplements. We can definitely chat and make sure that you're getting the most out of it. On the other side of cellular support is frankincense. And so that's that bottle of oil you see right there. And so that you'll hear called the king of oils. It is definitely one of the more pricey oils. And so that's where it's really great to get this bundled in a kit so that you can get it into your home because it has so many different properties. It helps across a lot of different things. So this is really amazing for skin support, for cellular health, for there's so many different areas that frankincense covers. There's definitely a saying that says if you're not sure what to use, try frankincense because it'll probably help. I absolutely love the flavor of this one, and it's the smell and the aroma. The flavor is kind of neutral. And this is one I will actually use daily, either putting it onto my diffuser bracelet, diffusing it in some sort of a mix, or even putting a drop under my tongue, either in the morning or in the evening. All right, travel must-haves. I mentioned this earlier. I have lots of experience in this area. And so I actually have a little travel case that I take a subset of my oils with me when I'm on the road. And these are 3 that you definitely want to take everywhere that you go. And peppermint is one we haven't talked a ton about yet, but this one is really great for, think of jet lag. So when you're feeling a little bit low and you need a little bit of an energy boost, particularly if you're going to a location where you need to stay awake a little bit longer, right? Peppermint's going to be a really great one for that, to help give you that little bit of energy boost. It's also a good one where you can add it to your water. You can add it to your coffee, add a little bit of kind of a peppermint mocha thing going on there. A really, really amazing one. Also good for headaches. So this one, it's a pretty versatile oil. So if you've got a headache coming on, you can rub a little bit of that onto your temples and you're going to feel that nice relief very quickly. The other 2 oils there, so we talked a lot about On Guard. Very often when I go into a hotel room, I'm going to immediately stick this in my diffuser and kind of fill the room so I can clean everything out and make sure that whoever was in that room last is not going to pass anything on to me. And then DigestZen, like we talked about, great one to have, especially when you're having foods that are a little bit unknown. I've done a couple of trips to Asia, and I have one more this year planned. And this is definitely one I would not leave home without. Definitely makes it less stressful when you have your oils with you when you're on the road, because think about how many different things that can come up that you don't expect. There's so many ways that you can use these oils for your health in a really simple way. So now it gives you those tools at your fingertips, and you don't have to panic about trying to find, something else that you may be unfamiliar with when you're on the road. Energy. Okay, I have lots of energy. Part of that's because I exercise and eat well, and part of it is because I do have these great oils. So if you are looking for a little energy boost, these are a couple of options for you here. Mito 2 Max is a wonderful stimulant-free energy and stamina supplement. Really great for cellular energy production. This one, again, is really going after that mitochondrial energy. And if you're a little bit unfamiliar with mitochondria, you might remember this from science class. Talk about it being the energy powerhouse of your body. It's also, as runners, when we do long, slow distance runs, what we're trying to build those mitochondrial pathways to help improve endurance. So anything that's really helping to support the mitochondria is going to have a really positive impact on our energy, aerobic capacity, stamina, lots of benefits here. If you have been somebody who's maybe gotten to the point where you've noticed you're drinking maybe a few too many cups of coffee in a day, this is a great one, and maybe just add to your routine in the mid-morning for a stimulant-free energy boost. I also recommend this as a great pre-workout. So you can take 2 of these about 20 to 30 minutes before a workout for that nice focused energy boost. The 2 others that you see on the screen, the peppermint and wild orange, I love those together as a blend. I will diffuse this when I'm doing, for example, a treadmill run in the basement to help have a nice kind of energetic and energizing burst, and really help since you're on the treadmill. That's not the most entertaining thing sometimes, so at least you're getting the aroma of these wonderful oils. Or you can just put a drop of each of those in your hands, rub them together, and take a nice big inhale. I definitely recommend to get the most out of kind of using your hands as that step-in diffuser. Think about breathing that in for about 10 to 20 seconds to really get that kind of going through your body. All right, we're at the last 2 health goals here. This one is all around focus. So this is a perfect one if you ever have trouble kind of staying focused, staying on task, maybe with one of your kids, getting them to focus on their homework and really stay on that one. Both of these oils are amazing for this. Intune is specifically the focus blend, and it is intended to help you to stay on task, to really stay on point there. So really great one if for study sessions or for you if you're working on a big project that you've just got to stay focused on. That is an amazing blend to carry around. And then Balance. This can also be amazing for that enhanced focus area. Balance is also called the grounding blend. It has a lot of tree-based oils in there, a lot of firs and things like that, and can be really great if you're feeling just a little bit distracted to kind of bring you back to center and kind of grounded. I like to use that one for that purpose as well. And then finally, for tension relief. So if you've had a really stressful day, or just you're feeling a lot of anxiousness or stress going on, past tense is a great one that helps you to kind of move beyond that. That's really what the kind of play on words there is about. And so this is a great one to roll on the back of your neck and your spine, maybe to put right underneath that hairline, or wherever you're kind of feeling that tension. Could also see this one on the back of your traps or the top of your shoulders, wherever you're kind of carrying that, to help kind of bring those feelings into relief. Another one as well, I could temples would be a great place to apply the past tense. So I hope you've seen how simple using these amazing oils can be. And really, we just scratched the surface. I tried to cover some of the ones that are most common as I'm talking with people. But if there's other areas that I have missed, definitely let me know. I'll try to read through the comments as we wrap up here and cover any other areas as well. All right, so how can you get these into your house? So we talked about how important it is to make sure that you're using an oil you trust. So how do you get the doTERRA oils? So there's really a few different ways to get started, and we're going to talk about them here. So the first, you could order retail. I do not recommend this, because even if you order like 2 different oils, you could have saved more money by creating a wholesale account. So it is available, and if you go to my order link that you'll see down there, fitaspire.com/simple dash buy now, you will be able to jump straight to information on that. But again, hopefully none of you guys are going to order retail because you're going to save a little bit more. So most people actually open a wholesale account. And so that is very similar to a Costco membership. So you pay a once yearly fee. For that first year, it's just $35. And then once you've paid that, even with your enrollment purchases or that very first order and anything else you choose to buy after that, you're going to start saving 25% on every single other thing that you would like to buy. And there is no auto ship on this. You don't have to buy anything else ever again. You get to choose. This is a wonderful way to just get those products that are important to you at a great discounted price so that it becomes even more cost effective. And then the third way, the way that a lot of us order, including myself, is on the Loyalty Rewards program. So this is an optional program, very similar to a frequent flyer program. But if you're looking at kind of purchasing things on a regular basis, like for me, I get the supplements every single month. It makes a lot of sense to sign up for the Loyalty Rewards program so that when you place a monthly order, you actually start to get some stuff back. So kind of like if you fly on your favorite airline, you start to earn free flights. If you go to Starbucks, you earn free coffee. When you purchase more doTERRA, you earn free stuff. So it starts out with you getting 10% back on all of your purchases, including 100% of any of your shipping. And then if you do order every single month, at about $50 a month, you actually start increasing that every 3 months, another 5%, so that after on month 13, if you ordered at least 50 PV is what they call it, which is points, which is similar. It's $1 of an oil is equivalent to $1 in dollars. And so after about 13 months of you doing that, you end up getting 30% back. So that's where I am right now. So whenever I place my order, I get 100% of my shipping costs back. So I think my shipping, I usually choose the $4 option. So I'm getting $4 back in credit for every order. And then I'm going to get 30% back of whatever I ordered as well in points. So you start to be able to get lots and lots of free product. And again, makes this very easy and very cost effective. You also, when you're a member, when you order on LRP, are able to get access to the free product of the month. So there's a new oil, it's usually an oil every month that if you order at a certain level, you're able to get a bonus oil for free. So lots of ways to really make this super affordable, super cost effective. So the most popular way that most people get started is with a kit. And I mentioned this a little bit earlier. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One of the reasons is when you order a kit, you actually don't have to you don't have to pay that introductory fee. So no $35 fee, you only pay what's kind of listed here or on the kit that you're looking at. The other reason is because the kits are bundled together with a lot of the more popular oils to give you a good overview so that when something comes up, you have an oil on hand, and then they're discounted even below wholesale. So for example, that Home Essentials kit, which is one of the most popular ones. In fact, I had a class at my house last night, and this is the one that one of the people enrolled with at that point. This has the top 10 oils. So we talked about almost all of these oils today, and also it comes with a diffuser. And so you're already equipped to start diffusing in your home, and you'll have when something comes up, you have a tool to be able to know how to cover that. Another popular kit is the Family Wellness, and that's on the left-hand side. So this is great, particularly for families with kids, although even if you don't have kids, some people that I've worked with really like this one as an option. So those taller, skinny bottles, those are called touch bottles, and those are pre-diluted. So it's going to come already ready to kind of roll on to anyone, even the hotter oils. They're kind of ready to go, super easy to use. It's going to come with the top 8 oils, plus a couple of emotional oils. So cheer and peace, which do exactly what that sounds like. So cheer, really uplifting, joyful blend, and peace, when you kind of just need a little bit of peace in your life. Those are the two that you're going to be able to use to support that area. And it's also going to come with the supplements that we talked about, plus a couple of great ones for kids. So the PB Assist Junior is a kids probiotic. I swear it tastes like a Blue Pixie stick. So the kids really love it. I also have several adults that prefer that one over taking another pill. And then the A to Z that you see there is a kids multivitamin. It's chewable. So also a really great product. And then finally, if you're more looking for a mini kit, you just kind of want to dip your toe in, you can get the smaller size of the top 8 oils in that Aroma Touch Diffuse, which is over to the right. So that one's going to come with a diffuser, like I said, the top 8 oils, and some of that fractionated coconut oil. And so that's a great one to get started. Just it's not going to have quite as much in each of those bottles. Off the top of my head, the full size bottles that you get in the Family Wellness and Home Essentials are about 220 drops, and the smaller size 5 milliliter bottles are about 90 drops.